Ipswich Buses, your local bus company serving your football team. Buses run every 10 minutes. Avoid the traffic. Don't get stuck in the delay. Get Ipswich Buses today. A single £1.20, a return only £2. Find out more information at www.ipswichbuses.co.uk. Ipswich Buses, proud to partner with Talking Town. Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Friday night press conference reaction show. That's right, the show that takes you from the week to the weekend. We are on the verge of another one, my friends. We are away, obviously, at Sunderland, a big weekend. The Cruncher has already made the trip up, as have many of you. I've really enjoyed the pictures coming through on social media of the Blue and White Army travelling north to take on the Toon. Is it? It's not the Toon Army, is it? Whoops, shit. That's a clanger early on mine. Christ. Yeah, as Matt just said, cut it. But welcome. Looking forward to hearing what you guys and girls are going to say tonight. We've got Ben already. Been a tough day at college, feeling a bit now, but glad to have you to get me through today. So thanks to the CT family. No, Ben, we thank you. And we thank all of you lovely guys and girls that support us and watch us. And in fact, let's have a quick Friday thank you to all of our monthly supporters. We honestly couldn't put on the shows without the support that you give us, both in watching us in your messages, and of course through things such as YouTube Super Chats and Ko-Fi one-off donations. We have, as George, the designer, gleefully told me, we have reached page 3. That is a tremendous achievement, my friend. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. And if your name is not up there, please do let me know. Because as you can see, under Sir William Morton, there is 6 anonymous people that Ko-Fi refused to give me the details of. So if you are not on the list, and you should be, perhaps you're one of those 6. And if you want to be on the list and you don't want to listen to Ko-Fi, let me know and we can get you up there. So the press conference show. Let's get a few comments before I bring in one of our contributors. Mike D's in the room. Stephen Parry had a great night with Cruncher, Kelly and Lee. That was obviously midweek watching us win an FA Cup game. Lee Brown, good evening. I hope you're well. The Cruncher, watching probably from TGI, sent a picture through on WhatsApp. Beautiful looking burger, stunning looking fries. I don't know about you guys and girls. I'm going to diverse here, but it's my show. I can do what I like. I do like a good burger. I really do like a good burger. Like I would, if I was on death row, I think my last meal would be a burger. You know, I think it would. Like bacon. You can bin the onion rings. I don't like that, but bacon, lettuce, tomato, gherkin, nice bit of burger sauce. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's my death row meal. I tell you what, I wonder what this man's death row meal would be. Probably, I don't know, actually. Maybe I'm getting shepherd's pie vibes.
No. Shepherd's pie is the kind of meal my mum used to cook me if I've been misbehaving.
Brilliant. I can't stand shepherd's pie. Honestly, it's fit for the dog. What would be your death row meal? Because
I wouldn't bother.
What?
No. Just get me that Romanian red wine back, I'd say to him.
Yes.
Yes. So that, yeah.
We had a number of requests for this show. Make sure Matt is on the Romanian red wine. We had so many requests. I forgot to pass on that information because of obviously with the each and with the ticket appeal and all that different stuff going about. But yes, next time we have to make sure we get you in supply of this Romanian wine. We do, because you were so superb last week. The best you've ever been.
Steve Perry's put caviar and chips for Matt. I might get something in from Harrods. They've got nice restaurants in there.
My dear, I like a good burger. Gov. Honest burgers are good. See, I'm a Byron lover. I love a bit of Byron.
Hold on a minute. When Rich posted that picture in our WhatsApp,
Shush.
you went, oh, it looks a bit dry.
Well, yeah, I know, but I've mentioned the brand name now, so I was
You're
trying to.
You're a connoisseur, aren't you, of burgers? That's the problem.
I am a very yes. It has to be sort of rare as well. Which when you go to restaurants, they don't like you having a rare burger. But hey, it's my gut, it's my life. I'll take it into my own hands. Thanks ever so much. Yeah. Apparently, there's something about it, but I love burgers.
Medium rare is supposed to be the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I like my beef to be mooing still. To be fair, if it comes out mooing, I'd be happy.
My brother-in-law's stag do, we went to like a steak restaurant, like proper high-end place in London. And they said, "How would you like your burger cooked?" So I said medium. They went, "Nah, medium rare." I went, "Okay."
Beautiful. Do you have onion rings on your burgers?
Huh?
Would you have onion rings on your burger?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Maybe not on a burger. On a
steak. Probably on a steak. Maybe not on a burger. On a steak, I would. Yeah.
Onion rings are the devil's work. Like literally, it's just grease. It's just grease, man.
It's battered. Onion. Isn't it?
Funny that, isn't it? Being called an onion ring, Matt.
There is one, right? But it's not Romanian. I've gone Australian.
Well, hey, good day, son. Right.
Champagne.
Been another busy week. We've got Sunderland tomorrow. Ben Moore. I might be on the beers at college, but it was needed after all the shit I've got due to reasons made due to TT. But they are jealous of what we've built.
Don't worry about them, Ben. You were telling me about this. And I was like, don't worry about them. Jealous. You're part of this community.
As Big Dave said, tell me what day, and I'll be up there.
Big Dave will be there, and I'll be with him, probably standing behind him.
Yeah, well, you're not going to stand in front of him, are you? You're the Driscoll. You're the Driscoll brothers. Out of Only Fools and Horses, you and Dave.
Remind me? I don't remember them.
The Driscoll brothers. One is really small and one is really tall. And the small one's the hard. It's sort of the hard nut. Everyone thinks the big one is, but actually it's the small one. And the small one is played by the guy out of the young ones. He was
Mike. Mike.
Possibly, yes.
Mike?
Possibly. Great actor. Lee Brown, McDonald's or Burger King? Oh, it's a big question for
I was banned from watching the young ones by my parents because I'd get lordy watching it.
See, I'd watch it Friday night, 9:30 before I went to bed. I was only like 8, but you know.
I was also banned from Grange Hill. Again, same issues. Start getting lordy.
Lee Bayliss, yes, Martin. See, I've nailed it. The Driscoll brothers. We're going to get a picture of that thrown up. We really are. Right, let's bring in our third contributor of the evening. He's taking over the seat vacated by the Cruncher, who has gone north, Matthew. He has gone north with the army to lead them into battle.
I'm glad he's not on tonight. He's been everywhere. He's been on the radio. He's been on the TV. He's been on podcast. He's been everywhere.
Are you going to finish that off like we did before the show? No, I didn't think you would. Shout
out the Cruncher. I love him.
Emerson, Burgerman Church. Was anyone know what's happened to him? Yeah, I don't know. I hear. Yeah, I hear he's been MIA, missing in the action.
Wow.
I know. We must find him. Perhaps he's gone to sort of contemplate and do a Buddha-style retreat on burgers.
I never purchased anything from him because my body is a temple. But you could smell it, couldn't you? If I ever get the train and you were coming down Pullman Road, you could smell those onions.
Waft that in my face. Tell me, Matthew, what is your body fat percentage? Because I know you're very proud of this. So let's tell the folks at home, what is your body fat percentage?
Last time I checked, it was 14. I was trying to get to
14%. Yeah. My body fat's probably 114%, to be fair. Like, I'm mostly relaxed muscle. But anyway, sat in the chair tonight is a man that's very proud this week. They've had a great week. And in honor of Football Shirt Friday, he is wearing the colours.
Look, it's
Lewis Robertson. Lewis, welcome. How are you?
Great to see you.
Okay, the new evening, chaps.
Tell the guys and girls at home about the famous shirt and the famous win. Who's it against? The Colossus that is.
I mean, we beat a little-known team called Denmark, but the big one was Moldova.
Moldova rolled over, as they say. God, I'm on fire tonight. Jesus, I've had my burgers tonight. Look at that. Lewis, do you beat Denmark? Talk us through Scotland's week then, because it's a great week for you guys. Steve Clarke's perseverance is paying off.
Yeah, took our chances. I think that's always the big problem. Big problem in the Euros as well. Didn't take chances. Not so much in the England game, but certainly against Croatia and Czech Republic, they had chances. Just couldn't put a ball in the net. Got punished. And couple of lucky breaks, but some great football as well. The Denmark game, I was so impressed. And that secures a home playoff tie. It's still going to be really difficult. Don't ask me to explain exactly how that playoff system is going to work, but a home tie in a one-off game, because it's not over 2 legs for the first round of playoff games, sets them up, and you never know, do you? Italy are doing their best to blow up.
It's a one-off game, is it?
So my understanding is there's 12 teams, but 3 spots. So I think everybody plays a one-off, sort of almost like a semi-final, and then they will play the other winner in their pot of 4. And then the winner of that will go through. But the second one is over 2 legs, whereas the first game is just a one-off. And because of Scotland's win against Denmark, they now play at home when that was really unlikely. They were looking at an away tie. So who knows? I'm not for one moment getting my hopes up, but I'm going to make a call now. Qatar 2022.
Yeah, it's on.
Mr. Scott Fraser, go on a good one of form for us, make the squad.
He's got to get on the pitch first for Ipswich before he gets to the squad for Scotland.
Well, I hope they do it. Scotland's my favourite country right now, having just come back from there.
Sure, it's not Romania.
Lovely landscape. Not been to Romania, I just like their wine.
Yeah,
Ben Moore, the most un-Scottish man I've ever known.
I get that every time I come on here. Every time I come on it, it's fine.
You do. All I remember about Romania is Dan Procescu and a World Cup group game with Graham Lasso giving away a penalty in the last minute. That's all I remember.
I think it was Phil Neville.
Was it Phil Neville?
Euros.
I'm sorry, Graham. Yes, I'm sorry, Graham.
And they rioted. There was a riot.
And then they all bleached their hair, didn't they? They beat them, got through and bleached their hair.
Hadji.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
Roy Clark, evening all. Did anyone see the Stockport game? I know you did, Matt.
Yes.
Talk us through the
Roy, what's the game?
best team in League One.
It was, it was great because you remember Stockport used to be on par with us, didn't they? In the old second division, now championship. And they've kind of plummeted down. It's still got a really cool stadium. And it was great to see them back in, on a so the nation could see them, Stockport. And it was a great game. They were like 2 down, 3-1 down, go back to 3-all, 1-4-3 in extra time. It was a great game. Thank God we're not playing them in the next round.
The game?
Edgeley Park, I think it's called. It was a really good game.
Yes, Edgeley Park. I didn't manage to watch the game, but when I think of Stockport, I think of Tony Dinning. Gives me nightmares. Remember Tony Dinning playing for us?
Yeah.
Long shorts.
Really big shorts, yeah. Yeah, Tony Dinning, yeah.
Just sadly out of his depth at a time when we didn't have a lot of money.
It was a great game because there was a pitch invasion. Someone stole the corner flag, so the ref refused to start the game again at kickoff until the corner flag was returned. So they had to get some geezer out the crowd to bring it back and put it back in, and they put it back in and it fell over.
That sounds like a great game.
5-3, Roy. You're right. It was 5-3. They scored right at the end. You're right.
All I heard about was on 5 Live all day long. You thought it was Scotland winning the game. It was crazy how much from 5 Live poured into it. But before we go any further, I know Matt's on the old Australian wine this week, but do not forget our friends at awaydaybeers.com. The Cruncher took a special delivery this morning. There they are, Ince Pies, Christmas Sacker, 2 Ince Pies and a Christmas Sacker. You can grab all your Christmas beers as well as your ITFC Legends Pack from $14.99 at awaydaybeers.com. Look, it's beer with great names that taste good, run by an Ipswich Town fan, Matt. We've got to get behind this guy and
what
support
more
him.
could you ask for? What more could you ask for? Yeah, it's great. It's great stuff.
Even does door-to-door delivery.
I've still got loads left in the cupboard. People have sent me stuff. It's great. Really good. I like, actually, my favourite's never in the pack. The Bundesliga one. The Bundeslager.
There it is. Look, he's got one. What is that one, Lewis?
Robo Crouch. It's a stout, and I'm not a massive stout drinker, but it's quite smooth.
You like it?
Robo Crouch. Love it.
Bundeslager's my favourite. That's really nice. And Poppy
I like the Schmeichel is a good one.
I've not had that one. I had the Portman, the new one. The Portman. That was a lovely drop. Beautiful, was it?
And let me tell you, Josh, who's probably watching from Away Days, people around me have seen the show and have bought Away Days beers as presents for their family members. That's good.
Get it out there. Absolutely. For the brand. Right. Moving it on. We have got some press conference reactions. So here we go. Lewis, I'll come to you first because Donacien, the Don, has signed a new deal. Paul Cook said this on on him signing that deal. He's a really popular lad, a really good ambassador for the club off the pitch, and no maintenance whatsoever from the star point of view. But more importantly than all of that, he's a very good player on the pitch. I felt it was a no-brainer to recommend to the club that we reward him, and Mark was very quick to pick that up. We've seen Idris on a new deal last week, and now Janoy as well, which is great because it sends a message out that it's not just about signing players, it's also about players in the building at the club proving they should be in the team. So, Lewis, what are your thoughts on Janoy the Don Donacien signing a new one-year extension?
Fully deserved. He's coming to the team, been a revelation, and I think his unfortunate injury has coincided with a slight drop-off in momentum that we've had in games. He's been fully deserving of the contract, and I think, as Paul Cook mentioned, you just covered, it sets an expectation for others. You know, a lot of people had a lot of different opinions about who was released, who should have stayed in the summer, and I think there's certain players that we can all say, well, maybe they should have been given more of an opportunity. But I think what Paul Cook's done and obviously Mark Ashton has shown that actually there is a way back for some of these players, and you will be rewarded. And if you look at players like Wolfenden, for example, who's maybe been a little bit in and out of the side, not really able to grab it with both hands. You look at Donacien and Nsiala. They who would have predicted that those two would be kind of the forerunners in the starting lineup from last season? But they've come in, they've played well, they've kept their spot, and Donacien's contract shows he deserves it. I think El Mazzuni's slightly different because he's a young player that we wanted to tie down, and he's got a lot of ability and a lot still to learn. But I think with Donacien, he's done superb, and it's hard because I've been quite surprised. But at the same time, I haven't been, because I don't ever really think he's put foot wrong. He's come in. It's been such a strange Town career, though, isn't it? I don't think anyone's ever had a career path with ITFC quite like Janoy Donacien. But good luck to him, and it can only be a good thing moving forward.
Absolutely. And Matt, when I did the shows in the summer, I was doing the stay or go shows. Janoy Donacien, alongside a few others, maybe Caden Jackson, it was always a universal, he's got to go. He's got to go. There was no way back for Janoy. But as Lewis just rightfully and very articulately said, what a great return, and he's worked his way back, and what a career path.
I think if you watch those shows back, I think I was the only one who said he should be getting games.
Bullshit. My memory's bad, but it ain't that bad, pal. You can't get that one past me.
I'll tee him up. You can stick him in.
10 goals KVY. That's all I'll say. 10 goals in the season for KVY.
You ever got a run of games, Lewis? I'd just love to see if that was possible. I hope
fair enough.
But I mean, look, Donacien's done great, and you're absolutely right, Lewis. It's a really weird career he's had at Town, because he come in under Hurst.
On loan, wasn't it? Loan because they couldn't get the international clearance or something.
Yeah. Then they end up paying $750,000 for him, and he's not playing. Then he goes out to Accrington, then he goes to Fleetwood, and now he's back in, and he's looking a great player. And I'm really pleased to see it. I'm so pleased he's got another deal. It's great, but where does this leave KVY? Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is it.
Very difficult for him, isn't it?
This is it, Mike D. Donacien's a good backup for KVY. Steady League One player for me. Jordan,
like the other way around now, though.
Yeah, it is. He costs $750,000. He should be in the first team in the League One side. John Warren, doesn't that say that Cooks is a lot in training that we don't? Possibly, but I think he's been putting that training performances into game. Like he's really been consistently good, hasn't he, Lewis? To finish up on Donacien.
Yeah, and I went to the Cheltenham away game, and he started that night. I can't remember if it was KVY injured or had a poor game. We played Burton, didn't we, on a Saturday? I can't remember why the right back wasn't playing, but I remember Donacien started, and he had Scott Fraser on the right in front of him. He defended well enough, but he just didn't get forward. And one thing I would say is, in the last month or two, he's got forward a lot more. He's had a couple of assists. You think about the one for Selena in the last minute against Fleetwood.
Yeah, good shout,
He's actually decent in the final third. He's got more confidence to go forward. Whereas I always felt like he played with the handbrake on a little bit. We'll get to the halfway line, kind of get a bit of a nosebleed. But definitely, I think that's where some coaching has maybe paid off. He seems to be playing with the handbrake off, and long may it continue, because he's popping up with assists. And I think he complements Burns quite well on the right as well.
Absolutely. Talking of handbrakes, Matt, Walton did some press duties. He claims we've become tougher to beat. He says this: I think we've become tougher and harder to beat, and the results obviously back that up. earlier in the season, there were games where the team went ahead and struggled to hold on to a lead. When you're not able to do that at this level, it makes it all the harder to get. So how have we become tougher to beat? Maybe at the expense of our attacking prowess, because obviously we've started to dry up a little bit there. Or is it a case of a kind run of games? Last 11 all comps have included wins over Gillingham, Shrewsbury, Portsmouth, Fleetwood, Wickham and Oldham, draws to Cambridge, Oldham, Colchester and Oxford, and defeats to Plymouth. So outside of Wickham and Plymouth, it's a pretty kind run of fixtures, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess this is also part of the I don't like using the word, the gelling process. They're getting to know each other, the turnover of players. Were we difficult to beat against Plymouth? I'm not so certain. I'm not so sure about that. But yeah, I mean, we are seeing some progress. We are seeing some growth. But like you say, 0-0 against Oxford last week, as the defence are beginning to solidify a little bit more, is that at the detriment of Bond scoring goals? Maybe. I don't know.
What do you think, Lewis? Because obviously we've dried up attacking wise, but as Walton sort of indicates there, we've got better, in being defensively. Is that a case of going too far, or what do you make of it?
I don't want to read too much into it just yet. I mean, I think we're looking at a couple of cup games, which I agree. Matt was very vocal last week. We shouldn't have been relying on a replay to scrape past Oldham. We shouldn't have relied on penalties to get past Colchester, But if you take the league form solely into isolation, okay, we drew 0-0 with Oxford and we covered it last week. There was some time wasting. We had opportunities. We hit the post twice. Yeah, we weren't as free-flowing as I think we were all hoping to be. But the league game before that, we hit 4 at Wickham. So, putting that league context in, I think tomorrow's a big game and I'm sure, we're going to come on to it.
Absolutely.
But I wouldn't read too much into it just yet. I think that we're still finding our way. I'm not going to use the gelling word, although I just have. But it takes time. And I think as the team evolves, we're working on different things. And I think generally we are more solid. And I think our record in the last 10, 12 games in the league would indicate that we are getting more solid.
Absolutely. We've got Callie saying, I'm not going tomorrow. Flying to Canada to watch it from there. Stephen Parry, it is, but compare them to the early sides, they are easier. Rob Smith, great to see Mark Detmer interview today saying he's here for all 3 games we spent over Christmas. Did he have his Christmas tree up in that video?
He did.
Mark, we need to have some words, Mark. It's November, man. 19th of November. Neil Perks, days much will feature at Wolverhampton for Town. Gary, I heard Donacien ran into a goalpost, banged his head and woke up a bloody good player. Callie says he's been talking about JD for a while, which, to be fair, I think he probably has in terms of support. And Stephen Parry, teams like their games in cups. There were many shocks in the cup. Sunderland lost to Bradford and Mansfield, so they can be harder. Lewis Cook says League One is stronger than ever. So he says, of course it is. When asked about how, is it a strong league? He said, of course it is. Last time, luckily, I was promoted with Wigan. Wigan and Blackburn were the 2 strongest clubs by far. There was no real other competition in the league. I can't remember the points tally. I think it was probably got to 98 and Blackburn on 96. I think Shrewsbury, I think that was the year Paul Hurst was there, pushed on 86, and then there was probably a gap of 8 points. So he claims it's, the strongest it's probably ever been. Is this the issue, Lewis, with the whole, if not this year, next year narrative by some fans that push and say, well, if I don't go up this year, there's always next year? Because every year the league will get stronger, right? Currently, if football was to end today, for example, you'd possibly have a League One that would include Sunderland, ourselves, Wickham, Portsmouth, Wednesday, Bolton, Charlton, Derby, Barnsley, and Hull. The league's going to get stronger and stronger. So does that counter the narrative of, if not this year, next year?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I thought a lot about it since he talked about it, and that who am I to judge Paul Cook and what he says? I often agree with what Paul Cook says, but I do think on this one, I wonder if it's a case of it's not necessarily stronger. There's just no consistency. No one team has really stepped up and said, we're going to take this league by the scruff of the neck. Sunderland went off at a canter. They've blown up. Hopefully that continues tomorrow. Wickham always looks strong, but then we rolled them over. And, we earned that. We played really well. Plymouth, I'm not convinced Plymouth are going to see it out. I think they've done well. They've got a good team. But there's no real teams taking the league by the scruff of the neck, which I think with the greatest of respect, Paul Cook's Wigan and Blackburn that year, they really did, and their class showed through. So you could argue that the league was stronger then because of the quality in their teams. Whereas, you've got teams at the bottom battling away, and I think everyone's dropped points to clubs that on paper are much smaller, but I don't know if it necessarily indicates the quality is there. I think one of the best teams that I've seen this season in the handful of away games I've been to most of the home games was Fleetwood. I thought when we played them, obviously it took that last minute goal and then they're at the bottom of the league. But I think there's a lot of teams that are fairly, and I still believe when it comes down to Ipswich that it's all about how we play on the night. And I think if we find our groove, we'll beat anybody.
I think you're perfectly right there, Lewis, when you say nobody's taken the league by the scruff of the neck. And Matt, doesn't that makes it more frustrating, doesn't it? Because if you can get on that run of consistency, if you can be as good as your build as the paper suggests the players you've got are, the league is literally like Oxford last weekend, right there for the taking. A red hot team come to Portman Road and was there. We didn't take them.
Yeah, I disagree slightly, Lewis, in that Plymouth have lost one game in 17. I feel like, and they're top of the table. I feel like they've probably taken the division by the scruff of the neck a little bit. I mean, we're looking at it here. We're 12 points behind them. Now, we've obviously got a lot of games to go. We've got, 28, 29 games to go. So, we can still chase that down. But, they've done that on freebies, haven't they? It's about, and go back to your other point, I do agree with that. It's all about consistency. And, we were falling asleep in games last season, watching it on the iPlayer and that. The iFollow rather, not the iPlayer. And we were still sixth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just consistency. You're absolutely right. It is consistency. And, fair play to Plymouth. A team cobbled together by 3 transfers has somehow been consistent. And, we went down there and lost 2-1, didn't we?
But I think that game, I know we discussed it a lot of the time, but that game was based around individual errors. And look, let's be honest. And I am a relatively big fan. Well, I'm not going to say relatively big, but look, I can see that Matt Penny, for example, does have some qualities. I know that it's a bit mixed views, but I personally think he has got some qualities. But he switched off, and I'm not going to defend that. And he hasn't really been seen since, has he? So, it was individual errors either side of half time cost it for us. Bond missed in the first couple of minutes. I know they then went up the other end and missed a one-on-one. We talked about the chances that were missed. I don't want to hone in solely on Plymouth, but I don't think there's a single team that have outplayed Ipswich this season. I think the only team that have outplayed Ipswich at times is us. We've outplayed ourselves by overthinking it, overcomplicating it, switching off at the wrong time, which I think Cook and everybody would admit. I do agree with Colin in the chat. I think we're on a good side, and I think we're in for a tough game on Tuesday night. I'm really looking forward to the game just as a match-up, really, because they're notoriously, under Paul Warne, they're a difficult team to beat. They're well organised. But we stepped up against Wickham. There's no reason why we can't step up tomorrow and step up Tuesday night. No, in our luck, we'll step up tomorrow and Tuesday and then go and lose at home to Crewe next Sunday.
They're a side you're probably right. But they're a side I missed out because obviously their position at the moment, but they could still be in the division, Matt.
Yes.
With the teams that could be coming down, when Wednesday were coming down, we were told, they're not in great shape, but suddenly they've got themselves a decent team last minute, countless signings. The league is only going to get better and better the same way the championship did. So is it a case of you can't really write off a year? You can't sit here and say, as some don't, Rich has done it himself. Well, if it's not this year, we'll attack it next year. You've got to really take every moment and every game, every season, as it's the last, haven't you? Because next year could be twice as strong. Kind of.
But then the pressure has come from the ownership, hasn't it? I feel, in terms of the resources that's been given to Cook. We've said this before. I'd be quite happy to say we'll get promoted in 2-3 years. But the messaging that's come out of Ashton, O'Leary, the game changer guys, in terms of the resources they've given Cook, the budget they've given him, the type of player that's come in, that's dropped down from the championship, that all suggests to me, unless I'm reading this wrong, this is the year to get promoted.
Well, certainly maybe not this year, but the window is wide open for a championship run, as it were, to nick an American football phrase. But every time a Plymouth escapes the division, that's one minnow taking the place of a giant, which means you've got another giant to contend with the following year.
You can have Derby, aren't you? You can have whatever state Derby are when they come down.
Yeah, could be Hull, could be Peterborough back again. But just what he said about it being stronger than ever. I can only see it continuously.
Yeah, they could have new owners, Derby. They could have new ownership by the time. They could have similar ownership to us and be competitive by the time they come to League One next season. So, you don't want missed opportunities, do you? And I feel like if we weren't to finish top 6 this year, or top 2, massive missed opportunity. In fact, I would say top 2 is the massive missed opportunity. Top 6 is the bare minimum we should be expecting with the players that came in during the summer. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Matt. If League One is strong, does a cup run hurt us? I know you've been keen to say recently on the shows that football can be played across 2 or 3 fronts.
Yeah.
Cook said this before you answered that. I've been quite fortunate in my time when I was at Chesterfield. We got beaten by Plymouth at Wembley. I think it was 3-1 in a final. In the same year, we got promoted and won the league. So I don't see how cup runs become perilous to your league form. You only create a winning culture by winning football games. Whatever cup competitions we're in, we've got a good depth of squad. We don't like chopping and changing. I think we've seen very indifferent performances from Ipswich on Tuesday night. It wasn't a good performance by us at Oldham, but it was a winning performance. And if someone had offered me that before the game, I'd have grasped it with both hands. So if League One being as strong as it is, does a cup run kind of hurt us, or is it you can play across multiple fronts?
You know, if you're trying to grow a squad, if you're trying to progress new players or get glue these players together, you need as many competitive games as possible. I think, and going to a place like Boundary Park, difficult on a Tuesday night, not many people in there. It's a bit of an experience for everyone, isn't it? I think Lambert never liked playing games other than league games, didn't he? It was like, why are we playing the CFL trophy? It was just a nuisance to him. But I feel like, if you keep playing games, look, Russell Osman played 66 games in 81. You keep playing games, you're going to have momentum, it's going to build confidence, you get to know your teammates better, especially when there's been a huge turnover. I just think it's a plus. And I do feel like the EFL trophy is something you should be competing in because it's a chance to get all the fans to Wembley.
Yeah, I'm going to challenge, Lewis, the notion that Cook said there in the press conference about it creates a winning culture because more recently, maybe in the FA Cup, you've seen the stronger sides put out. When you see, certainly against Colchester, and you're probably going to see it against Arsenal midweek in the Papa John's stuffed crust, can that really help the winning culture of a football club when you're making 9-10 changes and they're players that are not going to be getting a look in the first team? Like, how does that help the winning culture of a football side, do you feel?
I take your point, and I'm maybe going to contradict myself slightly from what I was talking about earlier. I think we have to treat the EFL trophy and the FA Cup slightly differently. I think with the EFL trophy, a little bit like some of the bigger clubs treat the Carling Cup, Carabao Cup now. In terms of what you often see is they play younger second string sides through most of the rounds, and then there's always that dilemma. One of the big clubs will get to Wembley for the final of the Carabao Cup, and it'll be a case of, are they going to stick with the number 2 goalkeeper who's done so well to get them there, or are they going to bring the number 1 goalkeeper in? And invariably, they tend to play a stronger side in the final. And I kind of feel for now, we can almost not cruise through, but play younger players, experiment a little bit and see where it takes us. And by the time we get to the semi-final, well, if we get to the semi-final of that cup with an opportunity to go to Wembley, I think that's when you put your strongest side out, and you put your strongest side out at Wembley. I think with the FA Cup, it's a case of we're probably only going to have a maximum of another 3 rounds. Let's be honest. I think as a League One side, we'd do bloody well to get past the 4th round. So if you look at it, for me, it's all about getting to the 3rd round, getting a Premier League game. And if you think about how the fixtures are going to fall, we've got Pack Out PR, which is doing fantastically well, and just another big shout out to Cruncher and everyone else that's been involved in that. Fantastic.
Yeah, huge.
But the way the fixtures fall, we're going to have Sunderland, we're going to have Wickham, we're going to have Lincoln over the Christmas period. And then first week in January, if we're in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, because let's be honest, we should be beating Barrow at home. Imagine if we got a Premier League tie at home. That's almost your 4th Pack Out PR thrown in for good mix. So I think, there's a real opportunity there to build and continue to build on that amazing feel-good factor that's being generated. It could always be a case if we end up drawing Rotherham away, but you never know. I think the 3rd round needs to be our aim, possibly 4th round, get a Premier League team at home, pack it out, get behind it, because I really do think that will continue that buzz and generate that. So I think there's slightly different targets for the 2 competitions.
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, perfect sense, Lewis. Yeah, absolutely. I agree on the FA Cup. It would be great, wouldn't it, to try and get a Premier League team in the 3rd or the 4th round of the FA Cup. Probably would be on TV if you get like a Liverpool or Man City or Man United would come down. They're generally the teams that get picked because of their global audience. Ipswich should be quids in from the FA Cup broadcast money. So it'd be great. We've got a great opportunity against Barrow. God bless them. I'm sure we can beat that. I'm sure we can turn them over at Pullman Road and be in the hat for the 3rd round. In terms of the EFL trophy, I would just love to see this club at Wembley. We haven't been to Wembley for God knows how long since we won the playoffs. We've certainly not been to New Wembley. We're one of a handful of clubs. There's only like 5 or 6, half a dozen clubs have not been there. Typically we're in there. So I'd just like to see a day out for the Town fans. I'd like to be able to see all, Talking Town doing something from Wembley Way.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mike D, one of my closest mates, is born and bred Barrows. We better bloody beat them. Rob, we have a good enough squad to have a cup run or two. If I could choose it, I'd actually choose to go and play every single minnow in the cup and try and get as far as you can that way, and then meet a giant. Like if you can find your way through rounds 3, 4, etc. through a side door.
It does happen. Sheffield United did it a few years back. They got to semi-final in League One as a League One team under Nigel Clough. Got beaten by Hull, and it was the Hull Arsenal final. But I went to that semi-final. It was brilliant. I think it was like 5-3 or something. It was a crazy game, but brilliant.
There is a limit. You don't want to go too far that it becomes a distraction, but you do want to go far enough that suddenly an Ipswich versus, let's say, I don't know, Bournemouth tie or a Premier League team like Newcastle, that it suddenly becomes a bit more attractive because it's perhaps a quarter-final or a further down the line. Whereas if you go to the third round, it's nice, play a Premier League side, but if you're in it, you might as well try and find your way through it as far as you can.
It provides moments, like we were talking about Stockport earlier. They had a moment. There was a pitch invasion. They beaten Bolton, a local rival. Yeah. They're going to remember that now on TV. They're going to remember that now for years. What a great game we're talking about it now, and we're neutrals.
The old Bolton player singing "Bolton Get." Was he singing that song at the end on the pitch? Sasavic, was it?
Oh, that was their captain. He played in the game against us. He was their skipper against us.
Wasn't he on the TV singing?
I don't know if he was, because I switched over at the end. But he's only been there like 3 weeks.
He had a big falling out with the manager, didn't he? And they released him, or did they loan him?
I don't no idea.
I'm pretty certain they sold him. Yeah.
He was on 5 Live. I know that much.
Yeah.
Lewis, earlier in the show, you said tomorrow is a big game, right? Well, Cookie said this. I don't call it a big game, if I'm honest with you, because that sort of mentality is how you win and lose games. If you turn up at Accrington and Cheltenham and you don't feel it's a big game, then you lose. If you turn up at Portsmouth and Wickham and you think it's a big game, then you win. The reality is, this is just a game, different type of game. Of course it is. We're going to the Stadium of Light, which is, without a doubt, a Premier League stadium. And Sunderland are, without a shadow of a doubt, a Premier League club. So while, bigging them up and making it sound like a big game, Cookie's underplaying it and saying, it's not really that big of a game. How are you seeing it? Because you said earlier it's a big game. Is it a big game, Lewis? Is he wrong?
I think it's a big game for me, and I think for the supporters. I understand the approach Cook's taken to it, and fair enough. But I don't particularly like the negativity that's built up around these cup games. So it's only my personal opinion. I think that we have been doing better. I think the cup games, the performance has been disappointing, but we've made it through in both competitions. We've got favourable draws in both in the next round. And I think we get a win tomorrow, which I'm confident we can get a win tomorrow. Sunderland are on a bad run. I think, we then look at the last 3 games of Wickham away. No, was it Wickham away, Oxford at home, Sunderland away in the league? We'd have 7 points off those 3 league games. So I think we need to be confident and be optimistic. I think Sunderland are absolutely there for the taking. It is a big game. 2 great clubs, big clubs that shouldn't be anywhere near League One, but we are, and we deserve to be where we are currently. But I would back us away at the moment more than playing at home. I think that the way we play, the way we are set up to play, we create chances away from home. Oxford showed it last week when they decided to kill the game for the last half an hour, which is fair enough. We struggled, and teams will come to Portman Road and do that. Whereas there's going to be an expectation on Sunderland from their fans, given the bad run. And if they get off to a bad start, they're going to be on Lee Johnson's back. If I were Cook, I would be pumping us up to hit the ground running and really, early goal, and it could turn very, very quickly.
They'll turn quicker than my green milk downstairs this morning did, Matt. Is it a big game, though? Colin says no bigger than Crewe. He's right. It's 3 points. That's all you get at the end of this one. But it's a side that's a juggernaut in this division, a top 7 team. Obviously, they were a top 6 side. They're going to be there or thereabout. This is not just a 3-point game. This is a scalp, if you like. Yeah.
Cook's being clever there. He's downplaying it to not put pressure on the squad. It's a massive game. Because if they beat us, then again, it's another hurdle we have to get over when we're sitting in 9th. And they might break into the top 6 or still stay 7th, depending on other results.
If they win, they go 7 points ahead of us, Matt.
Yeah. So I mean, it is a huge game. It's a huge game. I'm not sure that, having read some of the Sunderland media today, I'm not sure the knives are out on Lee Johnson as much as everyone thinks. They're 3 games on the slide. They've not won at home since the 28th of September. So they've not been on a great run. But I don't think the knives are out for Johnson as much as people may make. But I think if we go there tomorrow and get a result, then there could be some issues. But I do know that the young guy who's the owner, the guy who's linked to his father was the Marseille owner. I know he's not happy with what their league position. Same as we're not happy with our league position. You know, he's put a lot of money in, and the Americans and Game Changer put a lot of money in. So we're both under par in terms of our league position. But we will see. It's a huge game. Like you say, it's a huge game. They're going through
the Lambert free fall, aren't they? Yeah. They're doing
the Lambert it's the next one. And at the moment, they're all big games. I do also think with Sunderland, whilst the knives might not be out, for Johnson, as I described it, I do think Sunderland are similar to us in that you hit a bad run and their supporters very quickly, which is understandable. And we've been in that position. We talked about it a lot. At the start of the season, people were getting a bit wobbly because of a bad start. And that's off the back of previous years of disappointment. And Sunderland fans are going to be in exactly the same boat, aren't they? And having had that good start and finally thought this is our year where we're making good strides, their form's dropped off. So I think they're going to be nervy, if not knives out for Johnson. And Johnson's the streakiest manager I've ever known. He'll win 5, lose 5, won't he? And
they won
let's
their
hope that
first,
continues.
I think, you're right. They won their first 6 games, I think, in the league. They're still third in the form table for home games. But like I say, they've not won at home since September.
I think you're right there, Lewis. The old memories, the old hurts, the old frustrations, the panics, the worries, they all come out, they all manifest themselves, and that's what's going through their mind. They don't want another. They're like all of us, but particularly, they don't want another season in this division. They want to get out of it. They're sick to the back teeth of it. It's what happens to all big clubs, it seems, at this point. You get brought down to this level, you get dragged into the scratching and clawing fight of this division, then you have to claw your way out. We've got a few comments. Mike D, 3 wins at home is fucking our season. Pomeroy's a problem. Lee Bayes thinks Stuart and Richards are back for them. I agree. Lewis, Colin, we won't wear white because of their red and white stripes. Neil, we do seem a better team when people come on to us. EJ, these next 2 games are big games, whatever way you look at it. Stephen says, even if it's 0-0 at half time, they will be on their backs. A fast start can work both ways. Ben Moore, it's the type of game that Sunderland would turn up and win, but if we score first like we did at Pompey, then we'll turn their fans big time. Collins has agreed, they're beatable. EJ Norris, every game right now is a big game. I agree with that. You're on catch-up mode. Every game with a team above you particularly is a huge game, because if you lose, you go from 4 points to 7 points, and it's suddenly it's not a hill anymore, it's a fucking great mountain. Because it's too much sometimes, isn't it, Matt? 7 points. That's 3 games basically.
Yeah. It doesn't sound much when you're discussing it, right? It is in the grand scheme of things. It is. Big shout out to Kev Flavin, Sunderland fan in peace. Come to see us.
Welcome in, man. We've got Graham playing for big crowds. We do that every week at Portman Road. For me, tomorrow is what Town team turn up. We have enough quality, no question. Ben Moore, it's all down to the word said in the huddle by Morsey and how we start. Hopefully, Bond will score and we start fast. I'll start Chaplin and burns out Wire Selena in the 10. Kev, welcome in. Sunderland fan and peace. I have a feeling we'll get a win tomorrow, but it'll be a tight game.
It will be a tight game.
Go on.
I was going to say, I'm just reading some of the comments, and maybe Kev can tell us in the comments there, that some of the Sunderland fans have made. They're a bit kind of dodgy from crosses and set pieces. So maybe that's an element that we can capitalise on tomorrow. But it sounds like a lot of their goals have been given away like that, and also where they've conceded a little bit of space and they've allowed the strikers in to score. So we'll see. We'll see if we can manage it. It's a pressure game. It's absolutely a pressure game.
Is it a good time to play them, Matt, in terms, because you mentioned their home form, they've dropped off. Cook said Sunderland have had a frighteningly good start. They've had a tiny little blip at the minute and they go away quickly when you've got a quality manager in Lee and you've got quality players on the pitch. These problems will self-fix. Tomorrow we approach a very difficult game, again with a great optimism. We're going up there and as our supporters know, there is no parking in the bus. There is none of the above. We are going to take the game to Sunderland and let's see what brings. Is it the right? Have we got lucky for once? Is this the right time to play Sunderland away?
Yeah, I've been saying that pretty much all week, really. I do feel like it probably is a good time to be playing them in terms of there's a little bit of pressure on Johnson. I think their keeper, Lee Burge, is injured, so they've been playing a loanee they've got from Bayern Munich 2. Hoffman, I think his name is. There's talk of Nathan Broadhead, who's on loan there from Everton, coming back. and maybe partnering. I think it's Wallace up front. He's
Stuart, isn't it? Is it Ross
Oh,
Stewart?
Stuart. Yeah, Stuart. That's it. Yeah. So partnering him. But yeah, they're a little bit like us. I think they've suffered from some injuries and they've had some defeats. Like I say, they've not won at home since September. Our fans would be fuming if we'd not won since September, right? So
absolutely,
we can feel their pain. We can feel their pain.
They're in the lab at freefall that we were in. You know, riding high. You're suddenly going to do that. Now you've got to eventually arrest that form, Lewis. And I said earlier part of the week, I think I said on Wednesday's show, the old Ipswich, the Ipswich we all know would turn up to Sunderland and be the perfect cure to their ailments. We would turn up, roll over, and perk them right up. This is also a good chance, isn't it, for the mentality, the psychology, the new Ipswich to stand forward, step forward and say, that's not us anymore. We're now a side that goes away, goes to a side struggling, and then puts a bit of authority on the situation.
Yeah, it's a real opportunity, and there's been opportunities previously in the season. Some we didn't take earlier on. We took the opportunity against Wycombe to make a bit of a statement, and we did that. Bit of a statement against Portsmouth. You know, we've shown we're capable of doing it. I don't for one moment believe it'll be an easy game tomorrow. It never is. Sunderland are a fantastic football club, and they've been managed badly. I really feel for their supporters. They're proper football supporters, and I'm quite envious of the Town fans that are up there, because that part of the country, it's a proper football place, isn't it? And it'll be a tough game, but I back us to come through it. And I think that, you know, that gives us then momentum, and I think momentum is absolutely key. So I'd embrace it. I'd see it as a big game, big opportunity, decent stadium, loyal backing from us. Let's go and let's take the game to them. And Cook said himself, we don't play any other way, do we? You know, we've got to go out of the traps early. Let's see what they're all about. Matt,
put yourself. I'm going to bring somebody in a second, but Matt, put yourself in a Sunderland fan's position for a moment. Let's imagine Norwich suddenly tomorrow, richest club in the world, in the Premier League. Just talk me through how you think you'd be feeling, or how you think they actually are feeling, because that is their reality. They're 2 divisions below their rivals, and now the richest team in the world.
Wait! In terms of what Sunderland
and Newcastle, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's annoying for Sunderland fans, isn't it?
Yes.
But look, you can only do as well as you can in your own division, right? So they're aiming for top 6, they're aiming for top 2, and try and get back to the Championship. That's got to be their goal. Exactly the same goal as what we've got. It's tiny steps, isn't it? You can't go straight from League One into the Premier League. You've got to go into the Championship. So that's got to be the goal for both clubs.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, let's bring a man in who may maybe answer that question. He is, of course, north east as we speak, with a glass of beautiful cider, it looks like. Rich, is it a big game tomorrow?
Stella.
Oh, Stella. Lovely. Welcome. Hey, get him in, Stannard. Mine's a large pint. Thank you very much.
They're all big games, Ryan. They're all big games. They're only 3 points. Come on. They get no more for winning tomorrow than we do when we beat Crewe or Rotherham.
Do you not get a mentality? Do you not get a psychology? Is it something you can put on the record that yes, we've beaten a side above us, we've closed the gap to 1 point? Is it not all that sort of thing, instead of it just being, oh yes, 3 points?
It all means the same thing. I know what you are saying. It is a big game tomorrow. We're going there, 30,000+, good following ourselves. We're drinking, Matt.
Good man. Look at
that.
Yeah. Is anybody on the Newcastle Brown Ale yet?
Yeah.
I don't know if I do it.
I ain't got any.
Haven't got any.
Fucking, they ain't got any in Sunderland. Send it across the bloody alleyway. Come on, get it sorted, boys. But yeah, come on, Crunch. Tell us your thoughts on tomorrow very quickly before you get back to your point.
I'm really confident tomorrow. I think they're a team under pressure. We need to start fast. If we get an early goal there, Martin, you know what their crowd are like.
Oh yeah.
They could soon turn on them. So I'm hoping we fire out the traps, score in the first 15, 20 minutes. Let's put them under pressure. Let's put them on the back foot. And I think we will. I think we'll go out there and we'll go at them. I don't think we know any other way of playing, do we? And I think I said on Wednesday's show, we are set up better to play away from home, I think, than at home.
Yeah, I agree with that. Lewis?
Results suggest they, don't they? Results suggest that.
Yeah. Why is that, do you feel, Lewis? Is that because teams at home are expected to come on the front foot, or are we better with pace? Why do you think, as Rich says, we are better away from home than we are perhaps at home?
I think it's pace out wide, isn't it? I think teams offer a lower block when we play at home, so it's difficult. There's not as much space in behind, and it slows everything up. So I think away we have that space potentially, and particularly against bigger clubs, to exploit that through the pace we've got out wide, whether it be the direct running of Edwards, the pace of Burns. Cheer up, Matt.
Cheer up, Matt. We're going to win tomorrow. Do I give him a yellow card here, Matt? He says low block. Next to we're saying expected goals. Like, is that a yellow card? Do you reckon? Is that something we don't want? Low block. It's not. It's not judo here, Lewis. Come on.
Certainly,
I've been playing too much Football Manager.
You have, mate. You'll be GG impressing him here in a minute. Do you know what I mean? You'll be a vertical tick attacker.
I feel like we've probably been a little bit more clinical away from home, like we saw it in the Portsmouth game. The Portsmouth keeper made a couple of errors, didn't he? We capitalised on him and scored goals. That's pretty hard, really. But whether or not Sunderland offer those kind of opportunities tomorrow, I don't know.
Absolutely. All right, Rich. Before I let you go, score prediction for tomorrow, please.
Right, we go round. 3-1, 4-2.
2-0.
Hey.
1-1.
1-1. Oh, and obviously, all the best to the other mini cruncher. He's not there with you.
It's on the subsequent 10 days. Anyway, someone put in the chat how much we raised for each. £900 at the minute.
Boom.
And somebody on Twitter has contacted me. We're going to do a giveaway. He's got 2 director's box tickets for a game, and we're going to see if we can do a little auction and see how much we can get.
Yeah, great. Well done.
You're right for you, Mac. There's not a lot of leg room in there. You'll be fine.
I'll take those tickets. I can stretch out, you see.
You go with Big Dave, can't you?
Oh, Rich,
Driscoll's arrived.
Driscoll's on tour.
Remember the old Driscolls and the Only Fools and Horses, Rich?
The Driscoll brothers.
Yes, that's who they are. That's what I've christened them. See?
Is that when they're hiding behind that curtain when he's getting that snooker cue out, did he?
Yes.
He gets the mobile phone up the nose, doesn't he?
Yes, that's the one.
So he's a Driscoll brother, and you are the patron saint of tickets, my man. You have been rechristened the patron saint of tickets. Rich, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy
tomorrow, please.
All the best, Crunch. All the best.
Yes. Thank you ever so much. Right. On to tomorrow then, my friends. We have got a few comments. We've got how many mini cruncher had Rich? Stephen Parrott, I think it's how teams come to Portman Road. Crunchers Bray, 7 pints of Stella and wearing the club shop. That man rolls out of bed wearing the club shop. Lewis, your team for tomorrow is as a result of this. It is Walton in goal, Donacien and Enciala, Edmondson and Clements, Burns, Morsey, Chaplin, Evans, Aluko, Bond, Matt, Bailey Clements, Mark, Peaky Tuxford was not impressed midweek. He said, Bailey Clements, not for me. What do you make of that? And what do you make of Lewis putting him in the teams there today?
Well, I mean, look, we discussed this a little bit in last Sunday show, didn't we? We'll be a baptism of fire for Bailey going to the Stadium of Light, and it's a little bit of a different take than making your full league debut at Portman Road, 22,000 fans all cheering for you. So it's going to be a little bit different. Whether or not you can take the pressure, I don't know, but you don't ever find out unless you play. And I feel like I think Tux was a little bit harsh on him. I think he had a good game last week, and I know Callie said that maybe he lacked a little bit of physicality when we were chatting at the statue at full time. But, I mean, he showed a real youthful energy, that kind of youthful, I don't know, courageousness, really, in terms of getting forward. And he got himself in the box. He could have scored. He tried to square it for Bon. Sometimes going with the youth, there's no fear there. Maybe just play him. Yeah, I agree.
I have got a theory behind that lineup because of Clements' inexperience, and I think it was Mike B said about not playing him tomorrow because big away game. That's why I've put Aluko in front of him. Yeah. Aluko was captain the other night. He's got experience. Yeah. I think he's got more experience, obviously, than Kyle Edwards. So although Aluko would normally play on the right, that was kind of my rationale behind putting him on the left, so he can help Bailey Clements. They're both on the same side of the pitch. And ultimately, Clements got the shirt. He's not put a foot wrong, really. No. So for now, it's his to lose. Because otherwise, if he takes him out of the team for the big game, how are we ever going to know if he's good enough? I think we've got to go with that and give him the opportunity. He's done well enough, and it makes that statement to younger players that if you're playing well, you get in the team, you do all right, you will keep your shirt. Whereas if we panic, because what happens tomorrow, if we play against Sunderland, let's say he plays Matt Penny, who makes another mistake, everyone's going to say, should have played Clements. So why don't we just stick with what we've got?
And I think that's where, Martin, Sunderland have got some injuries on those fullback positions. So I think they've been, or have been, because they've had a little bit of a break, haven't they, a couple of weeks. They have been playing more youthful players in those positions. So maybe that would suit Bailey. Yeah, absolutely.
The left side is becoming a bit of an issue, like England in the early 2000s. Matt, what do you make of, obviously, Luco from Lewis? They would always play Edwards, he says. Who would be playing left side for you? Because it is an issue, isn't it? We're not getting the most out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've said, like, Fraser's been playing there, but, like, is he really making much of an impact there? I'm not so certain. To be honest with you, I would put Selena over there, which then allows you to shoehorn Chaplin into the 10. Mm-hmm. You could swap them around if you wanted to. I feel like Edwards would probably be a better impact player. 20 minutes to go, you bring that pace on. It's going to scare defences, I think. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Selena feels like probably Selena's more natural position on the left side, or one of the flanks, certainly, or maybe an Aluko in there. Absolutely. I feel like Chaplin's too good to leave out the side. I feel like he needs to be in that 10 slot, and we fill in the other roles around him.
That was the only reason I had Selena on the left to start with, and I looked at Clements and thought Selena will drift and Clements potentially could get exposed. So it was a case of who's got that experience and the know-how to be able to track back to help Clements out, which is why I settled on Aluko, and that keeps Chaplin still in that 10.
If you look at that triangle, though, can you put the team back on there?
I can, of course I can, sir. Yeah, no problem.
If you look at the triangle there, you've got Evans and Edmondson next to him. I mean, that's a lot of experience there, isn't it? To be able to guide you through the game, give you a little bit of experience. It's a word in your ear. But you're only going to learn by doing, aren't you?
Tempted at all to put Fraser next to Morsey?
I thought about that. I feel for the Crew game. I think the next home game where we're likely to face a team where we're going to have a lot of possession, I'd actually think about sacrificing Evans, who I'm a big fan of, who can spray a pass but tends to sit alongside Morsey a lot of the time. I'd actually look at Fraser with a deep run. You think about the Morecambe goal first game of the season. Or I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball, and I know Callie will appreciate this. We haven't yet seen Morsey and Harper. And I wonder for a game like Crew, hear me out, for a game like Crew, with some direct running from deep, Morsey can still sit and shield and allow Harper to join the number 10 and push on and get us up the pitch a little bit more. I think that's where we've struggled. It was just a thought I had since the Oxford game about maybe if we have a look at Morsey and Harper at some point in a home game where we're going to play against a team lower in the table. I wouldn't play that on Tuesday night against Rotherham. I wouldn't be playing Harper in that game.
You're moving towards the sort of thing I was sort of asking the contributors' opinions on early part of the week with an away midfield and a home midfield. Like tomorrow, Evans and Morsey, holding, experience, perfect. But at home, maybe, where you want to be on the front foot, pull the strings, maybe less so. I love your points there, and particularly about Harper, Player of the Year. Do not forget that. I've got a lot on that lad, so he needs to fucking pull his finger out because I've got a reputation, albeit a very poor one, but it's still a reputation of the same on Player of the Year. So come on, Harper, sort it out.
I think Steve Perry makes a great point there. Morsey could be suspended by then. I think he might be, in all honesty.
In that case, I'd play Evans and Fraser in the middle there.
You've got to think Morsey's going to get another yellow in one of the next two games, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Few comments. Lee Brown going for one all, up north in the morning. George says Carl Edwards is getting a bit disrespected unjustifiably. Head of a player just needs a goal. Stephen Parr, I'm thinking with Harper and Edwards right now. Edwards is the most exciting player we have without a doubt.
I do agree with that. I don't think we're disrespecting him, but you do need a little bit of end product. It's all good to have. I love the flair. I love the skill. I love the pace. All the things I absolutely love. But he's got.
I love the work rate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Edwards works incredibly hard as well. I'm not with any of the discussions we have about taking Evans out against Crewe, for example. It's not saying any of these players are bad players. It's about selecting the team for the game, the opponents, to get the best for Ipswich Town. So I'm a big fan of Edwards. I think he's still got a lot to come. But
I think Lewis, he pretty much had his best game, and where he made the most impact and opened people's eyes was against Burton when he came on as a sub and he hit the bar, didn't he? If you remember rightly.
Yeah, one of his first touches, wasn't it?
Yeah, I feel like probably coming off the bench might just suit him a little bit better. I don't want to see him keep getting subbed. That must be so disappointing to keep getting subbed.
You might also win free kicks and penalties in dangerous areas because tired legs do not like fresh, pacey legs coming out. And George Topper, Mawson Harper's a great shout. Rob Smith just donated £10. Thanks for the shows, Martin. Thank you very much, Rob Smith. We really do appreciate that. Thank you ever so much. Lee Brown, no end product every week. He's a young player though, so he's still got to be, careful of, he's a young player, still developing his toolbox and he's and putting it all together. And as Chris from West Brom said in the summer, he's going to have, up and down.
If he had consistent end product every week, he'd still be at West Brom, everyone.
Yeah.
And he's got a 4-year contract as well, hasn't he? So it wasn't all about the first 6 months of the first year. Exactly. It's a long-term, development and getting him through the door. And I think he'll come good.
Absolutely, yeah, it really is.
Graham, I've always believed Edwards will come good. Burns for me is the key to cause them the biggest problems.
Burns is key. I agree.
Well, I'd play him right back and play Luca.
That was the issue last week, wasn't it? In the first half against Oxford, we could not get the ball down the right side. It was all going down the left, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Right. Prediction league, before we come to score predictions, we have got 3 games this week. Sunderland, Ipswich, Cambridge, Rotherham, and Norwich versus Southampton.
Still on 0. Am I still on 0?
Yes, you are still on 0.
Are you sure you're doing this correctly? I'm sure I've got about 3 or 6 points. I'm sure
you've got 0 points because you're absolutely rubbish at it. But have a go at predicting Dean Smith's first game in charge, Matt. Don't forget, Dean Smith grew up at a time when Norwich were in Europe regularly. So.
Did you say regularly?
Well, didn't he say he remembers Norwich? Yeah. I think I've got a theory about this. I reckon he thought he was signing for Ipswich. And he's had a rude awakening when he's gone past Ipswich on the 40.
Crunch phoned me up in the week. We were chatting about this. We were going, I really like Dean Smith. He could have been a good manager for us. Never mind.
It's a shame, isn't
it? He obviously doesn't fear having a relegation on his CV. Is all I can say.
This is arguably Norwich's best squad ever, to be fair, looking at it. The Athletic did a really good piece midweek about their squad, and I was really blown away with how much quality is within it. But they kick off against Southampton. Dean Smith's last game as Villa manager was Southampton, a 1-0 defeat. So talk me through, Matt. Well, what would you advise? Well, you shouldn't advise anybody of your record, but what would you say to the people at home about a score prediction?
Go for a Norwich win, Matt.
Yeah.
I
think Sunderland Town's probably going to be difficult. I'm not seeing the goals at the moment. I'm going to say 1-1. I'm going to see a 1-1 there. What was the second game? You had on
Rotherham versus Cambridge.
Rotherham, you've got a fancy Rotherham there, haven't you? Probably a 3-1. And then the final one was Norwich Southampton. New manager. Bounceability. 1-1. Another 1-1.
Okay. Lewis, while I look for Roy to see if I've got Roy's £5 donation, thank you very much, Roy. I'll just have a look now. Talk me through Rotherham Cambridge. Can we take anything from that game in the sense that we've already played Cambridge? And what would the score going to be?
I'm going to go 2-1 Rotherham, but I don't think they'll have it all their own way. I think Cambridge.
It's in Rotherham, aren't they? They always yo-yo between the Championship and League One, don't they?
And Paul Warne's a very good manager, but Cambridge has surprised a lot of people, haven't they? They always hang in there. Look at that game against us, written off. We were 2-0 up. They hang into games. So I think Rotherham will edge it. And I'd be interested with them playing Cambridge Saturday, us Tuesday, whether they're travelling back and then travelling back down again. I reckon they'll probably stay local, won't they, for the 2 games?
Possibly.
Just another factor, something to consider. I didn't realise they were playing Cambridge, but that would make sense with us away on Tuesday night.
It's at the Abbey Stadium, is it? The Cambridge game?
Yes, it is. Yes, yeah. That's actually happened quite during this prediction league. I've noticed it's quite a few times. They've played a team either a week or a week before we have. It's actually been quite a quirky thing. It's been quite irregular. Roy, I certainly have got your £5. Thank you so much, my man. And I love your message. Not a lot, but as Tesco says, every little helps. They certainly do. That probably is trademarked. No offense needed, Tesco's. I used to work for them actually. Score.
Stacker?
No, .com picker.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the first job since leaving school. It was a 6 a.m. start. Oh, it was atrocious. Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, I jacked that in ASAP. Yeah, I can't.
It's lying nowadays, isn't it?
Oh. Well, I don't know, because she said to me last night, the wife, she said, do you know what time Arthur got up? He was my son, got up in the middle of the night. I said, no. She said, no, I didn't think so. I don't hear him. Honestly, fall asleep. Anyway, score predictions for tomorrow then, gentlemen. Sunderland versus Ipswich. You've already heard yours, Matt, so you park yourself there, make yourself look pretty. Lewis, what is the score prediction?
Positivity, good start. I'm going to say 2-1 Town. I think we'll go 2-0 up, and then they'll score a late goal. It'll be a little bit nervy, but I really think we'll get a good start. And as Cruncher said, good start, get the crowd on their backs, and that's going to help us.
You agree with that, Matt? I've forgotten what your score prediction was.
I said 1-1. Well, I hope that does pan out. It'd be absolutely fantastic. But I mean, generally, this would be seen as a good away point. I think, like Oxford got against us last week, it's probably a good away point for them. Not so good for us. Would a away point be good for us tomorrow? Maybe not. But we're not scoring enough goals to me at the moment since the Wickham game.
Yeah, it's true.
That's still
if we draw tomorrow, I think we've got to win on Tuesday. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, 4 points in 2 games is quite good, Lewis. In all honesty, but
I think the Morecambe game at the start of the year and those type of games, the games where MK Dons or Wimbledon, whichever one it was, the games where you've dropped points sort of makes Tuesday a must win anyway. In the sense of you've already slipped up and had a draw. Like if you could sit down and say, right, you're playing Rotherham and you're playing Morecambe. How do you want this to go? Well, let's have a point at home to Rotherham because they're a good side, and we'll beat Morecambe. 4 points return. Well, you're kind of going to have to do that the other way around because you've fucked up against Morecambe, which means you have to kind of use Rotherham as your Morecambe game, your get well game to call it, because you've fallen behind.
Yeah, you're falling behind, aren't you? Somewhere, somehow, if we're going to break into the top 6,
you've got to go over it.
Yeah, you've got to deliver in those games, haven't you? And they're probably going to have to be away wins.
I do think the Christmas period is quite key, and I was talking to someone about this on Twitter. With our squad, and a couple of weeks ago we had a couple of illnesses, didn't we? Burns and Donacien, I think, were both unwell.
Yeah,
I don't know about either of you, but one thing I've observed is the number of colds and flus and bugs people are picking up around me, and I think that's partly because obviously through isolating for so long, people's immune systems aren't quite as strong. And I think that's no different for football. Football is a human. So when you get into that Christmas period and the kind of winter bug season, I just wonder how many squads are going to be decimated by sickness and illness because players were isolating still. Their immune systems maybe aren't going to be able to cope. I mean, maybe I'm clutching at straws, but that may be where we see our squad play a part, not only with the fast fixture list, but also just our ability to cope with sickness and illness, because I genuinely think we'll see more of it in squads this year than ever before.
Yeah, we're lucky to have the abundance of options, we always call it, in our squad, haven't we? But we've always said, Lewis, like, winter comes, you've got 3 games in a week, people are going to get injuries, but you could certainly factor in illness for that as well. Absolutely.
If we're going to complete our roundup of old comedies, at some point, Matt, we've got to go over the top, just as Blackadder did. We've got to go over the top.
Goes off,
Another great comedy. Stephen George Thomas says facts, Martin, and I'm worried now that I've said something wrong. Sorry, George. Stephen Parry, but we've gained ground because we've gone from near bottom to 9th, and we're near 2 points a game. But that's not enough, though, Steve, because we're 4 points away, and if Matt gets another point tomorrow, again, that's a gap. At some point you've got to.
Yeah, it's the gap. You've got to chip away at this gap, and it's difficult if you're drawing games. You've got to get the 3 points.
Well, I think what Mike says is right, though. Losing to Cheltenham, Stanley, and Burton has put pressure on.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, I mean, they're all games. We look. You think about the Cheltenham game, the Bond miss could have easily been 2-0 up half time. We went to the Stanley game on the back of a 6-0, probably overconfident. We lost 2-1, so that was a kick in the nuts. And the Burton game, we probably would have won that if Fraser had scored the penalty. So, I mean, it's such fine lines, isn't it? Such fine lines to all of this.
It is.
And if you throw in the Cambridge away game, 2-0 up, and the AFC Wimbledon game at home, we were 2-0 up.
Yeah.
Drew 2-2 in both.
Yeah.
Rob Smith, that is where we will catch up. We have the big quality squad that other teams don't. And George was just agreeing with me. God, that's so rare. I've got worried I'd upset him. Sorry, George. Thank you ever so much. Right, well, whatever happens tomorrow will be a humdinger. It's a big game, no matter what Paul Cook might want to try and play down in his press conference. We'll be live 1:50. Myself, Curtis, and Ben Adams, the pre-game show. Join us. We'll run through the team. We'll run through our thoughts, get some scores, predictions, and all of that. But for now, Lewis, you've come through your first press conference reaction show. How did you find that one?
Yeah, well, good. And just a very, very big well done and thank you to Cruncher and everyone else again for all their hard work.
Absolutely,
if that's how I'm going to end the night, I just wanted to finish on that note. Fantastic effort from everyone, and us as fans, we deserve success. Whatever happens, we deserve success. The way people have come together and the good causes that money's being generated to, we deserve success, and I have no doubt we'll get it. Starting from tomorrow with a big win.
Absolutely. And if you can't make the pre-game show, we are live the moment the full time whistle goes with the fans react show. But he is Lewis Robertson. He is the media mogul Matt Phillips. I am the Gov Martin Lambert. This is an FCA funded presentation of Talking Town. And as Lewis says, as we look towards Christmas, you may, for some people it's not always a great time, but we've got Ben who is happy to help you. Welcome to Private Space Therapy, the business of our very own milk tray man, Ben Adams, who's a certified therapist and counsellor registered with the BACP. Ben's offering appointments face-to-face in Colchester on the beautiful university grounds, or by video, telephone, or even home visit. So if you do feel like you need someone professional to listen, to understand, and to discuss what's going on with you, give Private Space Therapy a call. Private Space Therapy. Non-judgmental, unconditional support with you at the centre always. Call 01206 259 311.